If you ever wondered what different settings successful Shopify stores have compared to your store, that's why today we're going to take you behind the scenes of my new Shopify store, and I will show you every single setting that I change from the default, and I'll talk a little bit about why I make these changes and why I recommend you do the same. If you don't know how to do something in this video, then please use Google. I'll try to explain best I can, but I can't go into detail on every single point. If you can't figure out how to make these changes yourself, you're probably not made out to start your own business anyway, because Shopify has great support and solving problems is just part of this business journey. Anyway, with that little intro and disclaimer out of the way, this is James Holt back with yet another video, part of the mega series where I show you how I take a store from nothing, without even a domain name, to going live and making sales, hopefully. Right now we're building the store, and I bought the domain name Friday night. It's now Sunday lunchtime, and I'm just going through and setting up the store, changing some settings so that when we do go live, everything is ready. This checklist I'm looking at, it is newly created. I'm going to be using this for all my stores in the future. If you want to download this checklist, just go to startsellingstuff.com/checklist. If you enter your email there, you'll get onto my email list and you'll receive this checklist free of charge for you to use at your own convenience. Anyway, let's jump into my Shopify store and I'll show you the changes I make. First thing is general settings. I change the currency to US dollars. I use US dollars because I sell worldwide and most of my customers are in America. And even for those who aren't, the US dollar is a currency that most people are familiar with and accustomed to using. So regardless of where someone lives, if you sell worldwide, I would use the dollar for all your prices on your store, just because people are accustomed to using it when shopping online. You change this by clicking on general settings in here. If you're on your dashboard, you hit settings down here, then general, and this is how I've got it set. So I've got my time zone. I use kilograms as the weight unit and United States dollars, USD, as the currency. It's available regardless of where you live, so I don't really see any reason to use a different currency unless you've got a store that sells only to a specific country that is not America. So next thing, what I do now is add an account for my VA. I've got one VA that works on all my stores. She's brilliant. She fulfills orders. She does a lot of work for the social media profile, and I always make sure to give her access as soon as possible so that she can start looking at the store and get a feel for it and start working on images for the social media accounts which we're going to be building up. You do this by going to account here, add staff account, you enter her name and email address, and she'll get an invite. Of course, you'll also want to communicate with her via Skype what exactly you want her to do with the store and all that, which we'll have to cover in a separate video on how to manage your VA. If you're still doing everything yourself, of course, this step will not be necessary. Next thing you do is add payment providers. It's right here, payment providers. If you go in there, I've already done this, of course. You add Stripe and I add PayPal Express checkout. Make sure you've got a PayPal business account when you do this. If you don't, you'll have to create one, I believe, to use this feature. I always like to have both options because depending on where the customers are from, they're more likely to use a credit card via Stripe or PayPal Express checkout. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both, but there's no cost to having both options, so you always want to add them so that your customer can choose which way they prefer to pay. It just gives them more option and will increase your conversion rate. So next thing, this is important, automatically capture payments. If you don't do this, you'll always have to log into your account and select and click on each order to say authorize payment or capture payment. It's down here. If you scroll to the bottom of this page that we're on before already, payment providers, by default it's set to manual, but you want to change it to automatically capture payments. Once we've done that, we'll go back to settings and move on to the next step, which is adding your credit card details. So I'll go into billing. I won't go in there now because it's got my info already. You'll want to add your credit card details, name and all that stuff that it asks for, just so that you can launch the store immediately once you're ready. Right now we've still got this free trial, but we probably won't be waiting till the end of this, because as soon as the store is ready to launch, I will launch it. And the problem with the free trial is you can't accept any payments. So chances are you won't wait till the end of this. If you're actively working on the store, you'll launch earlier and you want to be ready, so get your credit card details already filled in. Then we'll move on to the checkout settings, where I make a few changes. I set accounts to be optional. I believe as default it's either required or disabled, but I want them to be optional. I leave all this the same. Then I require first and last name, not just last name. Makes it easier for me to find the orders. If you get any customer service inquiries, it just gives you an extra data point, and it's also better for the shipping if you have first and last name. I deselect this confirmation step here. I just want to keep the sales funnel a little shorter, so requiring a step less should, in theory, increase your conversion rate. Now, all these changes I'm talking about here, I haven't split tested this. This is just sort of my gut, my understanding of marketing and copywriting, so feel free to test it yourself, but this is my recommendation if you're just getting started. Yes, so if we scroll to the bottom here, we'll be able to create these generic refund, privacy and terms of service statements. I've already generated it. You just want to click on generate here and do that for all three. Have a quick skim through it to make sure that you understand what it says in there, and we will later add them as a page to your website. One thing that I always change is I get rid of my mailing address out these, because I don't want customers mailing products back to me. It's just a personal choice, so make sure you check what it says in these terms before you publish them. Yes, so feel free to make a few adjustments or just delete short sections out of that. Next thing, and this is a point that gets many people confused, it's the shipping rates and setting them up. So, it's one of the main problems I still see with Shopify, that free plus shipping is hard to do. It's just technically hard to do. Unfortunately, Shopify doesn't offer an easy way to do free plus shipping, and also have free shipping on orders where the customer pays for the product. So the way I always structure my offers is that I have some products are free, but the customer pays shipping, and other products have a price, but the shipping is free. Shopify doesn't exactly make this easy, and I am not happy with any of the suggested solutions that I've seen. There is, however, a way around this, and it involves using weight-based shipping rates. The way it works is you'll set the weight of all your products that are free to 0.1 kilograms, and all the products you charge a price for, you set the weight to 0 kilograms. Then you go into shipping here, and you set your shipping rates to the following. You basically have a free shipping, which is when the total cart weight is 0 kilograms, free shipping. And all these ranges are based on the weight of the total cart. So this would be 1 free plus shipping product, 2 free plus shipping products, 3 free plus shipping products. As you can see, I've got a slight decrease in the price per product if you order multiple, and experience shows very few people order more than 2 products like this, so I don't add up 10, 100, whatever free plus shipping rates. At 5 I just stop and say that's the catch-all rate. So if you wanted to catch me out here, you'd have to order more than 4, 5, 6 products, and then you would stick at this $40 price. But if someone's trying to rip you off like that, you can always decline the offer. So this is how I set it up, and it's something that leads to a lot of confusion, and I myself have had problems with this just not working properly. And one of the main issues that I've had repeatedly, because I've just forgotten to change it, is this remove weight from the sample box. If you go to the shipping page, at the bottom you'll see a sample box, and you need to set the weight of that to 0, otherwise it will always include it. I think it's 180 grams or something that by default is the weight of the sample box, and that will be counted towards your total, which will then put you into one of these boxes by default, although I'm not sure which one, if I've got it set like this. But anyway, you want to get rid of the weight in the sample box to make sure it doesn't mess up all your shipping rates. After that, we can add a sales channel, online store. You do that by clicking on here, and of course I've already added it, so the online store is no longer available. It will be the top sales channel for you here if you're just doing this for the first time. Afterwards, you get this section over here, and you can go to preferences, which is sort of the settings for your store. You want to do a quick homepage title and meta description, doesn't really matter, just write something. And then you add your Google Analytics account. You'll go into Google Analytics, add a new property, copy the code in here. I always enable enhanced e-commerce, and I also enable e-commerce tracking on Google Analytics. That's actually important. Enable e-commerce tracking. If you don't know how to do that, Google it. This will show you the amount of sales and the revenue generated automatically in Google Analytics, which is very useful, and we'll need that later on when we do Instagram shoutouts to know where our sales come from. More about that in a future video. Just make sure to set it up right from the start so you don't forget and you have as much data as possible. We also want to add the Facebook pixel. For this you'll need a Facebook business account, I believe, which you should have anyway. I haven't done this yet because I'm locked out of my Facebook account, but you can get your pixel, and if you don't know how to get your pixel, Google how to get the Facebook pixel. copy paste in here, and then Shopify and Facebook will connect and automatically track all the information about your visitors, which will come in very useful when you want to transition from doing Instagram shoutouts to Facebook ads. You want to do this right from the start so that the pixel gathers as much data as possible. If you don't do this right now, then you will miss out on valuable data, and it will take you longer to transition over to Facebook ads later on. Always do this right at the start. Just like with e-commerce tracking with Google Analytics. And if you really want to be smart, you would also add Google Audiences. Because that will allow you to do retargeting. So you could show AdWords ads to only people who have visited your site or specific products before. So although this isn't absolutely mandatory for the initial setup, it is a good idea to do this early on if possible, because if your store does become a success, you want to have that data and you can't get it retrospectively, I don't think. So yeah, it's a good idea to create these audiences in Google Analytics, even though it's a bit of a headache, and when you don't have any traffic yet, you might think it's a waste of time, but trust me, once you have had traffic, and if you missed out on creating the audiences and getting the Facebook pixel data, you will regret that. So I highly recommend you do all of this right at the start. Yeah, so I think that's about all for these general settings that I do on every store when I set it up. This is my checklist. I've just created it for you guys, and I will be using it myself in the future. I always make these changes, and I recommend you do the same. In the next video, we're going to move on and talk about a few Shopify apps that I think are absolutely mandatory, and also some Shopify apps that are not completely necessary, but I recommend, and I think they will help you grow your business and get your first few sales in once we launch. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss the next parts of the series where we talk about Shopify apps, and then we move on to adding products, naming them, and eventually launching the store. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.